Okay, are you seeing it?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Excellent.
Now I gotta switch over to it. Okay, should I run through them all or just run through one and then go back to the beginning?
Run through Trish's, because we've been talking about Trish's. She shared hers and we were discussing it. So if you
Okay,
run through it, it'll run, like better. So
well, what does yours start with? Because I just have thumbnails without,
It starts with the statement of intent. The portfolio is called What Did You Say?
it's a gray background with
okay,
white
yeah, I
lettering.
found it. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay,
So I don't know how. I read it last time. I'm happy to read it again, but you guys can read it too. So
I think you should read it.
the image text photographic genre would typically contain images with text that has been inserted to the side of, above, below, or overlaid onto the photographs. In this portfolio, I interpret the genre differently, presenting a playful sequence of images that clearly have to do with text, although they may or may not contain it. And then let's just run through it. Speech bubble. You must have said something. Inscrutable letters. Another language. Writing on the wall. Sorry, my mind is blank. Your message is a puzzle. I might say puzzling.
Yes.
And this one, wait, go back one, I'm sorry. This one is going to be either your speech is garbled or stop mumbling or you're mumbling.
This one also. Do you want to change it into a, like, this is an important message.
Okay, I'm gonna work on the title.
Yeah, do it, have that same. And maybe I'm fresh out of words. However, you can make it consistent.
So
I love
consistent
all the
titling.
images.
Okay. That's it.
Great images.
Thanks.
Yeah, oh gosh, they're so you, and I love how you interpreted it.
And I'll be surprised if it gets anything, but I decided this year I was going to do something fun, something that I want to do. So it does definitely reflect my style.
I think it might get one of those pushing the boundaries awards.
Yeah, that would be great.
my first impression when I first read this was the image text photographic genre.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, I was not, what is this? What am I was trying to think about what it is, as opposed to it being a photographic genre that often contains both image and text or text would come across clearer. Because when you say the image text photographic genre, it's like, the nature genre, the pictorial genre or something. And I'm going, well, I've never heard of an image text photographic genre. So it throws me.
Mhm.
Except that it's explained in the rest of the sentence.
You could say an image text photographic genre would typically.
Yeah.
Right, so that
That
it
would
doesn't,
be an image in the image text photographic genre. And I don't want to do that. I think I could say typically, the photographic genre called image text would contain blah, blah, blah. I could do that.
Yeah, yeah, because all
Yeah.
those words in a row made my head swim a little. Yeah.
Right. If you said a photographic genre of image / text,
Mhm.
because when you say the, I try to search out in my mind of, okay, where have I seen a specific image text genre labeled, as though that's a common thing, as opposed to here you're defining it.
It is in school. That's where I first learned about it.
Ah,
I mean, it's a whole genre of photography where photographers actually, they'll take a picture and they'll have text that goes across it. It can be handwritten, it can be typed,
Oh, now it's coming, okay, now it's becoming clear.
Okay.
Images with
Um,
text in them.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not, the photograph wasn't taken with the text in it.
Right.
And so it's added later.
Just a sec, I'm looking up something. I'll be right back if I can get the right window. Just
did you just add that question mark now?
On this page, no,
It was already there.
that was already there.
Ah, okay.
I can't
But
get my,
really, I think what a big takeaway for me from this so far is to make the titling consistent. That it has the same flavor every time you see an image. It's the image talking to you rather than
You describing it.
telling about the image. Yeah.
Mm,
Well, you could change the second line possibly to say, presenting a playful sequence of images where I interpret what it's saying to you.
That's good.
genre.
I'm brainstorming.
I know. I'm resisting.
Yeah, well, wait till you get to mine.
This is great. I'm really glad we're doing this because it already I can see how to make it better. And I appreciate that very much.
I love all the images. It's just, this part I think is important.
Yeah,
Yep.
I do too.
Yep.
And it's going to be on black instead of gray
Mm-hmm.
with white letters. I've only used like 45 words, but saying just enough is kind of key also.
I wonder if you did it in Courier.
Courier?
Isn't that like a newspaper type?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that this serif was kind of like that, but if Courier takes it even further like that. Yeah, aren't they kind of like what do you call it when the
Typewriter.
yeah, it changes thicknesses. Well, this does too. Somewhat.
It would be easy, since you're dealing with text and you're talking about a playful sequence, to have a playful font, but that might, I don't know if that would add or detract from the portfolio.
Yeah. I want to be careful with it. I don't.
Yeah.
So I think we can move on to the next one.
Let me switch back to that app.
I've gotten a lot of really, really good suggestions. I appreciate them very much. Thanks.
Good work.
Mhm.
Love that.
Oh, I love that.
Me too.
Oh. Grid X, what more can you ask for?
Color. Got color.
I immediately thought USA map.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Florida's in Texas.
Yeah,
They're about the same.
after the flood.
Yeah.
Storm cloud over the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And Maine shifted down to the mid-east coast.
So here's speech bubble. I can't think of what to put in
Ooh,
to the speech into the bubble or something.
because there's an X there, you could put an illiterate person's thought bubble,
Ah,
something to that effect.
right, but it was like she was putting it as
Good.
if speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spreadsheet spackle.
Yeah. So Steve, what we were doing was we were switching the titles so that they all were like as if the speech
Part of a
bubble
conversation.
having a conversation with us.
So I'm gonna have to work on this one too, even though I love that title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put speech bubble into it somehow.
Nope. Okay, out of this one.
Or I'm just a speech bubble with not much to say. I don't know,
That's good.
but I'm pretty.
Yep.
My speech is gridlocked.
Ah,
I like not much to say.
now one thing I will say, when you have it be a sentence rather than a title, a
Mhm.
title would have certain letters capitalized and no period. Whereas if you're doing it as a sentence, you would just capitalize the first letter and put a period at the end, and you could even use 2 single quotes to make it a quote.
Okay, I could even use quotes now.
Yeah, you could use a single, before you could use a single quote, and now you can use a double quote, but I've always just used 2 single quotes because those are legal.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, I like the idea of having the first word capitalized in like a sentence.
And make it a sentence instead of a
Mhm.
title. Okay.
and that way, if they're all quotes, we all get it, that what did you say? And then the person's answering.
But we're done with this one, right, Steve?
Yeah.
We're moving on to the next portfolio. This one I got to figure out another title for.
Or I'm just inscrutable letters.
Cottonmouth.
What did you say? I'm just inscrutable letters. Or
Pulling back reality of my words.
It used to say motel.
Oh,
Okay, let's move on to the next portfolio. I think we've done enough with this one.
Oh. Okay, because I hadn't seen it. Mhm.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you did see it when we first showed it again.
yeah, so see, that's perfect. Sorry, my mind is blank.
Yeah.
That's
that's what we're
that's
looking
the
for.
sort of, as I see,
As a sentence.
And this one, I'm puzzled by your message.
Yeah. That's good.
The bottom center paragraph, that looks like Towley from South Park, Towley,
No, I don't.
two little eyes.
Yeah, I noticed the eyes. I wondered if you'd added them.
No, but isn't that interesting? Yeah, I saw that later too. My nephew is one of the lead artists for South Park. Oh, I'm so proud of him. Okay. And this one, we said your message is garbled or stop mumbling, or you're mumbling.
Yeah, there was no time I could think of other things, but I will move on.
And this one, some other title, not sure what yet.
This is an important message. Or, just as an idea.
Mhm.
The lower smudge almost looks like a petroglyph with a cattle or something on the lower left part of the smudge.
Mhm.
I love that smudge. I know you do too.
I do too. And I also like the little drip on the right
I
hand.
like the drip.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like an exclamation drip.
And I love how the top is, you can tell the realistic and, and very detailed. And then the smudge is just, they work so well together or apart.
I think it's biased news. I love this. I don't know about words, but it's
Fresh
so
out of
neat.
words.
The fresh, because it's so green, like a fresh vegetable.
Mhm.
Like fresh mold.
Words, text, it has to do with text.
Okay, sorry.
That's nice having a little group here. It's like we're meeting and,
Yeah.
a little at a cafe and talking.
I'm in my bed.
Okay,
That's the overview image, which will also be black with a white stroke around each. I did figure out how to do a stroke, and that just made me so happy.
Yeah, in Photoshop, it's edit and then stroke.
Yeah, and then figuring out how to get it to go only on one layer at a time.
Well, you have
separate layer.
10 different
it already.
images and 10 different tabs. Make it have the stroke. Save it as a PDF, and then you could do just copy and paste. And when you paste it onto your blank page or this page, you do the transform, and you sure to hold down Shift, I believe it is, and move it so it stays in the same aspect ratio. And then you just move it around, and it's
Yeah.
easy.
I did it on each layer of this image.
Yes, and that each one is a layer.
Right,
Yes.
and it worked great. It was easy,
Yes,
but
yes.
they were too thick and didn't go well with the gray background. So I'll try a black background and maybe a thinner. Do you have a recommendation on how?
Yeah, I would do between like two or
Okay.
three, 1, 2, or 3.
Okay, great.
Now, whose is this?
Ooh,
This is Terry's, and this is being recorded so she can hear it.
Okay.
Let's, okay.
let me see what it says.
Everyone has a story. Portraits are an introduction into the soul of the person being photographed. Each person has a story. As a photographer, my desire is to share that story. The camera is my tool, but it is my interaction with the person that bonds me to them. Each of us must walk away feeling fulfilled and respected in order to produce a lasting memory of the moment. Building trust is the key.
Hmm.
Oh, did we want to discuss?
You're gonna look first and then.
Go through the whole, yeah.
Okay. An interesting stranger sits on a bench at the SF Transit Center. He seems so at peace. I take a photo. It isn't enough. I want to know his story. His name is Michael. He greets me with a ready smile. He comes here to enjoy the shade and read. I hope I captured his gentleness in the photo I took. I carry his smile with me. Ava and parents live in Amsterdam. We talk.
Kessel, Ava, and parents. Yeah, sorry, I don't need to say that, but.
Ava,
Oh,
yeah,
Tessel comes
Kessel.
first.
oh, Tesla, I didn't see that.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, my laptop is obscuring some stuff. Tessel, Ava and parents live in Amsterdam. We talked about swapping homes. I read about them later in the Washington Post. Mom has designed a community of houseboats on the water.
Mhm.
What stood out about Greg and Daniel was the love they had for each other. Each had suffered and each was grateful to have the other. Greg died a few years back. Ning Hu has an art gallery in Locke, California. He was born and studied in Shanghai. He is normally reserved, but it should be ease as opposed to easy.
Mhm.
Yes.
But at ease here in his studio surrounded by his paintings. Art is his life. I met this young man sitting outside of the skate park in Willits. He was on his way to somewhere else, just traveling through town heading north. Brief encounters, photo ties. Emily, a Civil War reenactor, was so tired when I took this photo, she told me she could hardly hold her head up. Without her trust, this photo would not have been possible. Dylan was a photographer at the Ansel Adams Gallery in Yosemite. Through casual conversation, I have gotten to know many Civil War reenactors. Strangers have become friends. The work the artist on the right designs are along cultural themes. He takes great pride in his work and in being able to share his Hispanic culture through the tattoos he creates. I shared a Rocamadour tour with Pat and her sister. For them, it was a pilgrimage. Photos can be a way of experiencing things through others you otherwise would not, a gift shared.
Hmm.
That's really lovely. I love the way they all fit together.
Yeah,
Now,
I like that.
this makes them all look like they're, I don't know, my screen looks really yellow. And
Oh,
I
no.
thought the pictures were all black and white monochrome except for the Civil War woman.
To me,
think they
the
all are.
background looks off-white. It doesn't look yellow.
It looks right white to me.
Yeah, it looks
Okay, well,
black
it's
and white.
cream or
Each
something.
monitor.
Yeah, but when they were going through them, I noticed that one of them did not look like it was black and white, grayscale. It looked like it was inappropriately so for the Civil War, but here now they all look the same.
Let's see.
So, okay, so I do see how it has a creamy look.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess it's the same.
On the
No, never mind.
on the overview image, it's beautifully constructed and there are specific
Oh,
instructions,
overview.
overview, the last one.
Yeah.
Specific instructions that say not to overlap and make it easy on the assessors, because what they're going to be doing, they don't rate this image at all. It needs to
And
look,
the upper left is overlapped.
yeah, it's overlapped.
Oh, yeah.
And that will harm, because this is where they're going to be, they want to be able to see and name, okay, top row, middle row, bottom row. So if it's hard to do that, it makes it harder for them to assess it.
Even though that the guy is part of the person in the image to the upper left.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
because
makes
you're looking at
sense.
the image.
She was tying them together,
She is, but
but
they're separate images, and each of the images needs to be visible.
well, I would guess it matters as to whether she cares whether she wins or cares of the impact she makes. And I guess that would be her decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So
And I'm
it's
saying that for the
training.
recording, so Terry can look and
Yeah,
make that decision.
Right, because if
But,
you look at the entire set, the upper left image is not a portrait, whereas all the others are portraits. So it
Mhm.
stands out in that sense also.
mhm,
It's what they call an environmental portrait.
right, I would agree.
Well, it's not a close-up.
It's not a
And the-
close-up, but it is a portrait.
Civil War woman,
Yeah.
the Civil War woman is also an environmental portrait.
Yes.
Not typical. So is really the tattooing. Not quite so much, but they
Right,
aren't studio portraits.
Right. I'm playing devil's advocate here in terms of the judge looking at it and saying, even a judge might come up with something to say where the upper left image doesn't fit with the rest.
Mhm.
Right. Good
Good,
point.
but I thought it was a nice entry into the portfolio.
It was.
Especially the title saying it wasn't enough.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was, oh, that's really so, because it's the only one where it's the same person twice.
Right,
Right.
But her point here is it wasn't enough. So you get to see the next one.
right,
Good point.
yeah.
So let's see, none of the others are related to each other.
No, but it's kind of like having an introduction to what type of work we're going to see. It's going to be
It sets the
intimate with each
stage
person.
for what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I like that.
As a
This
sequence, I
is
think it
cool, but
works.
it's not enough. I need to get closer and talk to the person, not just snap it from a distance.
Yeah.
And this one, I just had a little question about that. We don't know much about the home swapping or designing a houseboats. This is more about these little girls, right?
Yeah, the girls. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it is almost like when people say, okay, but I don't see that in this picture. It's more like giving me extra
Right.
stuff.
I
So
think-
that could be a good feedback.
Yeah, I'd like to know something about the kids.
Yeah.
What did you learn the kids, Terry?
And she's talking about getting closer to them and something of, in this magic moment, standing there with my camera, somehow I inspired this hug and laughter and giggles.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, I think the abbreviation of Washington doesn't work if you keep it.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be
I
the word
see.
itself, Washington.
And houseboats doesn't need to be capitalized.
Right. Okay.
And then
This is an amazing picture.
Yeah, that's they lived across the road from me,
Yeah.
and Danielle does. Now died, I don't see why it's capitalized.
No, Died does not need to be capitalized.
And this is great. I mean,
Yeah,
it's fabulous.
beautiful.
Could you say Greg is no longer with us?
Mm,
Or, you know, if she, I like you, I don't like euphemisms. I like died, but that's me. And then she can kind of, it just was the capitalization that,
Passed away as opposed to died.
yeah,
Didn't,
I like died.
didn't
I
she
like died
also
too.
give Daniel a copy of the photo?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I
he
think
has
that
a
would
copy
be,
of it.
you know,
Yeah,
Dan-
that'd be good.
somehow connecting that with the fact that Greg died.
Oh, yeah, or Greg, not Greg, Daniel treasures this, the image I gave him.
Right, that
since
I
Greg
gave him.
died.
Yeah,
Right.
up to you, Terry, just talking.
Just
Yeah.
ideas. We're brainstorming.
Mm,
I think we met him.
yeah, we met him in law. But this one, it says he's in his studio surrounded by his paintings, but I can't see that.
Yeah.
And so I think,
Could just leave out here in his, you could leave out the surrounded by his paintings part, just at ease here in his studio.
right, art is his life.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think if we could see his paintings, it'd be a great title, but you can't
Yeah.
really. It looks like he's outside in trees or something.
Right. And to be pedantic, CA should be capitalized.
Yeah,
And I'm nothing if not pedantic.
What do you
I
mean?
great.
California should be capital CA. That's the way it is nowadays since
Right.
decades.
Is there a 200 character limit on the
I-
titles?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something to look for too.
Cap C, Cap A is more prevalent, but I don't think CA period is incorrect.
Well, okay, common usage.
Yeah.
He doesn't look young to me. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're young compared to us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but he looks like
40,
you know,
Yeah.
38.
if his beard had some flecks in it, he could be, yeah.
What does his tattoo say?
Oh,
Beer.
yeah. Looks like prison.
It's
Yeah.
funny, she says he was sitting outside. He was on his way to somewhere else, but it's kind of hard to be on your way somewhere if you're sitting.
She
I met-
engaged him. and
How about
so-
I met this
Yeah,
man?
okay.
How about I met this man sitting outside the skate park in Willits?
Oh, back on that last one.
Yeah.
My suggestion again for edit, I'm an editor. That's what I'm doing. Brief encounters, period, new word, capital P, photos, photo ties, or brief encounters. Yeah, brief encounters,
Dash.
photo ties,
Dash.
dash photo ties, something, I don't know. But anyway, that's just small, but it jumped at me.
My favorite image. as
Yes.
much.
I love this one too. Go back just 1 second. I just had a thought. Go back to the one before. Steve,
Hmm?
can we go back to the one before just for a second? If you took out, he was on his way to somewhere else and just put, he was just traveling through town heading north. Brief encounters, photo ties.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this title, this caption works beautifully for her her portfolio. Oh, here's something else I wanted to ask. And this is for your rules, Tricia.
Mhm.
Stories is what she has here as the title, the portfolio title, but she has a different title, a longer title on the first page. It's not called stories. It's every picture has a story or something like that. So
Yeah,
everyone has a story
needs to be the beginning of the
of each
title.
one.
for
Right,
each one.
but
Yep.
it says stories here.
Right.
And it can't, it
Yeah.
needs to say everyone has a story.
Yeah.
She'll get dinged for it otherwise.
Was it that way on all the images?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
That's.
So she just needs to change that on all the images.
Yeah.
And then she has to watch out for her word limit.
200 character limit, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Is
she
it
could
really-
call it stories and then after that say everyone has a story as part of her edit and then stay with
Yes,
the
that's true. Then
75.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. That's
Yeah.
another way to do
Or
it.
That's a
stories,
better idea.
stories, everyone has one.
But then that's gonna become,
It's even longer. It's
Under the
even
200
so many
words,
characters.
200 characters.
And I'm just saying
I meant on the first,
on the first page.
on
Well,
the statement.
I like stories across the front and then the first sentence being everyone has a story. I like that. I like it but without the capitals, in it. And and then just be sure that everything including the title has 75.
I see what you're saying for the statement of intent.
The statement of intent.
Okay.
It's a way to keep the titles to be because she likes to tell a story in her caption, so she should keep it small, keep it tight.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And if you're being really pedantic, it would be Emily, comma, a Civil War reenactor.
Another comma,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Two commas,
2 commas should be put in there.
but she may not have time. Oh, another thing is, and I did this, if she calls the whole thing stories, doing it capitalized stories, it helps it stand out from then the caption that goes with it. So
what
on
you're
the
saying.
first page, stories would be all caps. And then on each of these, it's a way for impact.
but
She would need to change this because if
So
she
this
calls
would
the
say
whole
at the
thing
top.
stories, and I'm saying just make that caps.
Mhm.
And then everyone
you're,
has a
s- you're,
story.
you're saying everywhere it's used, make it
No,
cap?
no. What I'm saying is that the title of her portfolio is stories. If she agrees to that, so that she has more space in her individual titles, because she would have to have it, everyone has a story, and it's probably going over. So we're saying, call the portfolio stories, and then I'm just saying, in each of the titles and in the top of this, stories, the title would be all caps. And then underneath it, everyone, blah, blah, blah. But when reading the caption, stories with it being capitalized sets it apart. And so you can read the rest of it kind of then as a subtitle. Again, looking for impact.
So we have each person has a story already in there. So just gonna also have to look to avoid repetition.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
That's why I phrased it as stories, everyone has one, as opposed to stories, everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that better too, Steve.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I was a little confused by this title because it says he was a photographer at the Ansel Adams Gallery. And then I've gotten to know many Civil War reenactors. Oh, I guess he, in his.
He is a Civil War reenactor, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think that this, for me, this is one image that makes it seem repetitious to have Emily, and then Emily is a much stronger image than this one is. I think I would take this one out.
And if she wants to keep it in, she could change the order so that it's something that follows. You've got
Right.
Emily. She could start with Gary,
Which one's Emily?
Keep the
She's
one,
Two
the Civil
before.
War reenactor who was so
two
tired.
before. Let me finish on the one
Oh,
previous.
this
Let
one,
me finish my
there it
sentence.
is. Yeah.
Okay,
go ahead,
okay,
Nancy.
go to the next one. And what I'm suggesting is, through casual conversation, I've gotten to know many Civil War reenactors. Dylan was a photographer at the Ansel
Yeah,
Adams Gallery in
just
Yosemite. Strangers
better.
have become friends.
That's
Or
better.
Right.
put the,
And then put
Dylan is
Emily
from-
And
after
then
it.
Emily.
No,
Yeah,
The only thing is, you've got, the portfolio includes separate images. You know, they're not, no two are doing the same thing. And that's why this kind of sticks out for me.
Mhm.
I would take it out, but I already said that.
yeah. And in terms of editing, in one word, she had reenactor with a dash, with a hyphen in it.
Yes.
Oh,
And this one doesn't, so be consistent.
when you said no to saying these two,
Right, but we talked
Okay.
about that being a lead-in. The
Right,
first
right,
one being a
right.
lead-in, and then all the others after that are not related to each other.
I don't think it's a problem if the phrasing, the way you phrase this one, if you then have Emily follow it rather than precede it, the
Ah,
text
Exactly.
would flow, because you would be saying, through casual conversation, I've gotten to know many.
oh, good
Right.
point, Steve.
Yeah, that's good, Steve.
Make it so.
Okay, the work of the artist on the right. Now, it's
Work the artist on the right designs.
there's a lot of,
Not
it may be because of the 200 character limit, but to say the work of the tattoo artist.
Yes, there's
You
no
know
reason to,
artist.
we know the artist is on the right. It's guy with the machine in
Right.
his hand.
The-
Yeah,
the
But when you
tattoo
say the
artist on
work of the
right-
artist on the right, is there an artist on the left?
right. Good point.
This tattoo artist,
This tattoo artist's work,
or design.
designs
Yeah, this,
along
just the work
cultural
of the-
lines.
Just the work of the tattoo artist, blah, blah.
yeah, I
Are
have a
along
problem with
cultural-
are along cultural themes. The work of the work the artist on the right designs are along, the work is along.
I don't think you even have to have the right in there if you say the work of the tattoo artist,
Is along
or
cultural
the
themes. It
tattoo
uses
artist's
cultural themes.
works.
Yes, there you go.
Tattoo artist's design work is along cultural,
Is along, yeah.
I'm garbling it. But the word on the right, that is sort of throws things to me.
yeah,
Yeah, we don't need on the right. There's no, she can save some words. Let me ask you a question, Tricia. I come from Chicago, and Hispanic is what we refer to. And I understand on the West Coast, it's Latino. Is that,
Or Latinx,
well,
Yeah,
Latinx is only used among non-Latin people.
No, it's used.
Oh, it
in
is?
school, it was used everywhere. But,
Okay, younger
Latino is
people.
also, this
Yeah.
is a Latino.
Right. I also
Right.
spotted something else in that it's redundant. You've got work here and you've got work there.
Mhm.
Well, you've got work and designs. Designs doesn't belong, doesn't fit in there, does it? You could say the designs of the tattoo artists are along cultural themes.
Right. You don't need work twice.
She's using design as a verb, not a noun.
The art design, yeah, but the work on the artist design, yeah, but it's designs are, so if it's a verb, it doesn't
Yeah.
make,
The tattoo
No, the work, yeah,
artists'
yeah, it should be the work. is.
designs are along cultural themes.
Tattoo, yep, that's what I just wrote down. This tattoo artist designs are along cultural themes.
He takes great pride in his work and in being able to, come on. Mhm.
You share in the Hispanic culture or the Latinx?
Latino, to
culture?
share his Latino culture through the tattoos he creates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or really, you could even just say to share his culture through the tattoos he creates.
well,
that
but it
the-
isn't known that it's Latino unless, you know,
We're wordsmithing the titles. Is that the purpose of this
it's a part of it.
tonight?
Yeah, it is
Is
part
that
of
right?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely titles make a huge difference.
Well, you know how many times somebody didn't get an award because they did something wrong in their title.
Tell me about it.
I don't know what Rocamadour is.
I only have a clue. I think it's a rock group, Tricia.
Rocamadour is a town in France. It's up on a cliff and it's really cool. I've been there.
Hmm.
And it's kind of a religious town. It's got churches and all kinds of stuff in it.
Is it a place for people, is it a destination for religious pilgrimage?
Yeah, yeah, I think it can be. I mean, other people go see
Yeah,
it too.
I just, look, the pilgrimage is in there.
Yeah,
I kind of wish that her sister was there with that title, but that may be,
Yeah, yeah. And when I saw sister, at first I thought it was capital S sister. It's like they were both nuns, but then I
Right.
realized that's not what she was saying.
no. She might just leave that out. Just I shared a tour with Pat, and for her it was a pilgrimage.
yeah,
Yes.
it's an idea.
Yeah.
Are her eyes closed?
In the portrait, I'm not sure what.
I wonder if she's praying or something like that.
But I wonder what the experiencing things through others you otherwise would not. What is it that she's experiencing things through others?
Because she's just, Terry's there, you know, as a tour. And for this person, we assume is for many, it's a pilgrimage. So it's a different kind of experience. And and Terry got a chance to experience as a pilgrimage through this woman,
Okay,
which it really fits with the heart of what her theme is, her intent.
Uh-huh. Mhm. All right,
So we're suggesting to change the order, which, well, yeah, I mean, that would be a lot of change.
I think she could do it pretty easily if she just made the images, the 3 images,
In the center,
yeah, more
In
have
other
the
wor-
same aspect ratio and not overlap.
And flip the
Some of them have to be
2 bottom
smaller.
left ones.
I mean, this is beautiful. It
Yes,
really is. It's very nicely done. It just, I think that she would get dinged on that
overlap.
and on the difficulty of naming which picture they're looking at, because they're not going to have the titles when they're looking at the overview image. So they can't say Michael or, you know, unless they remember them all.
So they don't judge this image at all. They just
No,
use it
they
as a
don't judge
tool.
it. No, it's just a tool. But they use it as a way to refer to when they're giving the feedback and you get that recording back.
Right,
They're using it to talk about the placement of the images.
right.
Unless I were to go back and read it as being specified in the rules, my impression is she should be fine. I don't think it's a biggie if they're not judging this one.
Okay,
But if she does change the order, as we suggested on the Civil War people, she needs to change those two. And she would probably want Emily to be bigger, not Dude.
Yeah,
Dylan.
the two, the left bottom corner and the upper right corner are like the strong ones to me.
mhm.
Right.
Emily is bigger, Rod.
Yes,
Well,
but well, we talked about reversing the order for it making sense in terms of the text.
If she changed the titles a little bit, though, I don't think it would be necessary to switch the order.
Yeah, I
If you leave, the titles the way they are, then yes, but if you change the titles a little bit, reword them, I think you could put Emily first.
Right, but we changed the wording so that Emily belongs second, but that's up to Terry.
I mean, what's
okay.
really nice is how they're all sort of moving to the center. You know, the one on the right looks into the photo, the one on the
Oh,
left.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
if you change the
sure.
order, that's gonna
Yeah,
change.
yeah,
Emily.
and I'm sure she planned,
Yeah, I
Right.
do too.
good point.
Yeah. So that, it might just be that Emily, no, I love Emily's title.
Are we ready to move on?
Okay,
Okay, this, I may change this. After I read this, I'd like to read you another one that I just wrote. In talking to Terry, she wanted me to be more enthusiastic and like, I don't know. Anyway, but it feels foreign to me, but I'll see what you guys think. Okay, Ilulissat, iceberg. Ice fjord, the very name of this World Heritage Site, was enough to lure me to Greenland to observe firsthand the life cycle of icebergs, or Ilulissat in the Greenlandic language. The Ilulissat ice fjord carries huge chunks of glacial ice from inland glaciers to Disco Bay, and I journeyed by air, boat, and on foot to witness and record this process. I invite you to share my journey. Aerial view of Disco Bay and its icebergs in Western Greenland.
You've got a problem with your sequence title? 2 of 12 is twice in there.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
On all of them.
on all of them? Oh,
Yeah, if you showed me just your how your titles are set up, I could probably immediately fix it.
oh, okay. Oh, you know, I noticed today when I went back in, this wasn't listed under competitions. I had to click the include closed competitions. Does
oh,
that
yeah.
does that mean I can't go back and edit this?
It was, I thought I had to close it in order to show things. It turns out I didn't, but I'm going to reopen it right after our discussion.
Right,
Okay, great, thank you.
okay.
Okay, so that numbers, I have to change those number things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you just send me a quick email, I'm sure Steve too, but if you just send me like, copy paste of your titles, I'm sure I could tell right away what
What I did wrong?
Yeah.
Okay,
And that way you know, because I know this has been an issue, so.
okay.
Mm.
Okay, there's another one here. Ilulissat Ice Fjord carries densely packed chunks of glacial ice to Disco Bay, where they will become icebergs. Trails allow hikers to reach the edge of the ice fjord near its mouth to get a closer view of the slowly moving ice. An aerial, that's spelled wrong, I've got to fix that. An aerial view of the mouth of the ice fjord shows large chunks of ice that become grounded in the shallower water and impede the progress of the ice behind them. From sea level, it's much more apparent how large and varied these chunks of ice really are. Tabular-shaped icebergs can tower up to 100 meters above the surface of the bay. When approached by boat, they appear as almost vertical, wildly textured walls. The grounded icebergs slowly melt from both the top and the bottom until they can float free. Many initially drift south past the nearby town of Ilulissat. Sun, rain, wind, and sea sculpt the floating ice. As it changes shape, it can roll or crack into endlessly different forms. Gradually, the ice becomes more fragile. Eventually, the bergs melt into the sea, although for many of the large ones, this doesn't happen until they reach far away, warmer waters. Cool.
Very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, very nice. I have a question. Could I see your first page?
Before I forget it, I wanted to check, let's see. Never mind. Okay, first page.
Okay, I just wanted, I journeyed by air, boat, and on foot. I just wanted to make sure, and I believe you do, you have all three
Yeah.
modes
Yes,
pictures.
there's several aerial shots. There's not a shot of the boat, but it's
No,
talking about
by
seeing
boat.
it from the water. That's on a boat.
Yeah,
And the walking was the hikers.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just wanted to be sure you hit all three because
Yeah.
they're gonna look.
Let me read this other one that I wrote to you and
Okay.
tell me if you think this is an improvement or not. Ilulissat, Greenland is dominated by icebergs. The name actually means iceberg. My intent is to show how these icebergs come to be. I show the path of their journey from the interior ice field and glaciers through the World Heritage Site Ilulissat Ice Fjord, and finally out to sea where weather and water sculpt them into fantastic, ever-changing forms. I use views from the air, the land, and the sea to tell this story.
Very
like
good.
I
I
like
like
it.
that better.
I like
Yeah, I
it
like that
better.
better too.
Okay,
I like
Exciting.
it better, but at the beginning, you use, I think, the word iceberg 3 times.
yeah, I do.
And I think you can shorten that a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I could say Ilulissat, Greenland is dominated by icebergs. That's what the name actually means.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Now, I noticed in one of them you called them bergs. Is that because it's used a lot or you needed the letters?
I called them bergs. I don't remember that one.
You did
Let's see.
somewhere middle to end. I thought you did. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. No, I meant to put icebergs. All right, that's number 11. Okay. I don't usually call them bergs. Okay.
This to me is the weakest image,
Yeah,
and it starts your portfolio.
Yeah.
it doesn't look
I
in focus.
It's taken through the window of the plane, and it's
Yeah.
kind of,
Mhm.
you know,
And you deglaze it, not dehaze it.
I did dehaze it. I guess I could try more, but
The bergs themselves look like they're blown out.
And they look like baby birds.
baby birds. Well, there's a big one center left,
Yeah.
because these are farther out into Disco Bay. The plane took a swoop around there. The big ones are closer to the mouth. They don't get out. There used to be a glacier that came all the way out to the mouth, and it pushed all the dirt to make a moraine. And that moraine underwater is what traps the icebergs. You know, so they're being pushed out, but they can't move. Those huge
That-
ones just get stuck.
They're grounded, that you mean?
I'm sorry.
They're grounded?
Yeah, they're grounded, and then they have to melt enough from the bottom and from the top and get light enough to float up so that they can move on out. But I couldn't find any way to explain that in 200 characters. But yeah, I don't know what to do about this one.
Can we see the overview again?
Oh, but it's changing.
Yeah.
Not the statement of intent, the overview image. The
Oh, the
last
last,
Oh, all of
last
them.
image.
last one.
The 12th one.
Yeah, okay. So the second one is from the air, correct? Because that's a plane wing,
Yes,
right?
both of them are from.
Ah, okay, because, see, when I looked at that, I didn't initially know what this was.
What is it?
It's part of the plane.
But what?
The
Oh,
propeller.
it's a propeller. Oh, it
Yeah,
needs motion.
right,
But if this actually, because you can see the plane, and if you talked about in the title,
right. There's nothing that
Aerial
mentions
view.
about it being an aerial view or something,
In the title.
if
Right,
you took out
which
the
would
first image,
clarify what that is without having to,
yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
you don't think it's
Enumerate.
obvious that it's a plane? Huh?
No,
Okay.
I mean, I know because I just looked at your last one,
Yeah,
the Nolly one, and it had the two plane images in it. But I think this is
so I could
a
just put
image.
Illuminated Ice Fjord seen from above. No, seen from
Seen from the plane, the prop plane,
the prop plane. Okay.
no, propeller plane or whatever.
Okay, so this is image 3.
Not a badge.
I mean, if you have another bigger image of, from the plane that is technically better than the first one,
Yeah,
I would use it. I would not.
yeah, unfortunately, if I had, I would have used it, but none of them are that
Yeah.
great from the plane.
But Jennifer, do you have Nick?
I'm sorry.
Color Effects Pro?
Yes,
I would suggest taking that first one, especially if you have the raw or, or.
yeah, I have the raw.
I mean, not start with the raw, start with something that you think is good and take it into Nick. And I would say, well, both or either tonal contrast or detail extractor, I think would bring a
Yeah.
lot of that back. And just like this one has that look to it, you can
Yeah.
make that first one, I believe you could make it fabulous.
Better. Okay. All right. I will try working on that.
Good.
Yeah,
and
I never thought to use the Nick, the color effects, but that's a good idea.
Oh, you're going to be dangerous.
Sure he is. Come on.
She already is.
In terms of theme, I think it's really strong.
I'm sorry. This is
The theme overall,
uh-huh.
You've got a statement of intent, the one you rewrote. This portfolio really delivers on that statement of intent.
Okay.
And
know,
each
limited-
image, except for maybe the first one, stands very well on its own.
Yeah, the first
But
one.
together, they really make you've narrowed, you've got a really broad subject, you know, in terms of icebergs, but you've narrowed it to this World Heritage Site and what you were able to see, you know, visiting Illusilat. Is that what it is?
Illulisat.
Illulisat.
Yeah,
when you say that. And I just think that it's a very, very good sequence.
oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I really had to fight myself for that because there was too much. I had pictures of the ice field center. I had pictures of the actual glacier front, but technically that wasn't so great either. I had millions of pictures of icebergs. Oh my God. So, you know, I just really had to be vicious at cutting things out,
Mhm.
all except for that first one. That I couldn't find a replacement for it, but I'll try this color effects, see if I can improve it enough to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at tonal contrast and detail extractor, not necessarily both together. Probably tonal, well, you can take a look at them. You can use them together, but you know.
Yeah. Do
You have
you
to
mind, Nancy, if I send you a few questions? I've not used that before.
Oh, no, you can't send me any questions.
I'm not allowed. Sorry.
Good competition,
You
Jennifer.
gotta learn it on your own.
Of course, of course, of
Oh,
course.
thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, these even this doesn't give a sense of just how huge these things are.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Again, though, look at the white. I wonder if you could try,
Yeah,
that-
I would look at my histogram.
Oh, I
And-
have. These do not, you know, it does not click that it's, you know, it doesn't show that it's blown out. I was pretty scrupulous about that.
I
Well,
just wonder if you couldn't get more detail in those
right.
sheer-
Have you ever tried recovering the detail by just brushing in the area that's really bright so that you don't affect anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I can try that because even though they're not blown out, you're right, they could be not
Yeah.
so bright and maybe show more detail.
Right, because
Yeah.
this is such a big area with little detail.
Yeah. Another
and
one in the
even ones
middle.
along the back.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
yeah,
Something else you could do, since this is not a restricted category, is that when things are blown out like that, if you go, it could be in Lightroom or Photoshop, and you actually clone or heal from another part at a very low opacity over the
yes, that's the key. A
Oh.
low opacity. For example, take it from an iceberg that has a lot of detail along a side, possibly from another photo, copy that, and then very low opacity
yes.
fill.
And it can be from this same one because it'll be
Right.
such a low opacity that you won't be seeing the pattern
Right, for
very much,
example,
or
Yeah.
you can take parts.
right,
yes.
this
The
one has,
striations, yes. The
yeah, this one
striations.
has a lot of good detail in it.
Yeah.
But I would sample, because this is such a large area, I would sample from multiple areas, otherwise it's going to repeat.
Yeah.
And the
This is going to
striations-
require maybe more Photoshop than I am capable of doing.
Well, you know how to, you know how to clone, right?
Theoretically, I know how. Yeah.
Well, you stick your, you know, what is it, option, click on a spot, and then move over and have the opacity at a really low, or you can change that later on the layer. and just go across.
Drag the cursor across it and see it appear.
Yeah.
Okay,
Change the opacity. I mean, that's,
yeah.
if you've ever cloned, that's all that is.
I have very rarely done that.
Good for you.
My best image of the year last year with all the clouds in the sky, there were actually a lot more blown out clouds. And I did the low opacity cloning and it darkened the clouds so
Oh,
nicely. So it's very effective using low opacity.
And adds detail.
Yeah.
And you could do it on a separate layer and then just change the opacity of the
Yes.
whole layer rather than starting at a low opacity. And I'll change the mode if you want to, but just a simple low opacity swipe across.
Yeah, and then experiment with the different blending modes.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You know,
We're gonna make you dangerous.
yeah, but
Uh,
that, yeah,
yeah.
that could really make it a standout image
Yeah.
Mhm.
so that you're not distracted by this.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll try Lightroom first, and if I'm really desperate, then I will go to Photoshop.
Well, now Lightroom has all those wonderful masks that you can just mask.
Yes,
it.
you know, and
Yeah.
it didn't have it when I was working on these.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you can do intersections,
Yeah.
stuff,
You know,
and boy, it's amazing.
the tonality on this one is beautiful,
Yeah,
Yes.
really
See, this is
beautiful.
from the boat. It wasn't from the plane.
right?
So that was a different story. I didn't have glass between
Mhm.
and the icebergs.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this one's really pretty. I like the composition.
Just a comment from others. How do you feel about the exclamation point at the end?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. So this is, all right, which is 6, okay. Okay,
Truly instead of really, I don't know.
What'd you say, Nancy?
Truly instead of really?
Yeah,
Question.
truly's good.
oh, truly, okay. That
Good.
that sounds good.
Good choice.
I'm also available for titling help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm available for lots of things people use. You know, I get
Get
emails all
used
the
all
time.
the time.
I'm happy. As long as I'm available, I'm happy to do that.
Nancy and I sometimes have tit for tat conversations of one upping each other on the way we phrase something, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We have a lot of fun with that.
We do.
Mm.
Excellent
those
tonality again.
I'm sorry, this is what?
Excellent tonality again.
Oh, thank you.
And the area at the right with almost greenish gray, whereas over to the left it's bluish gray. That difference is very good because that greenish gray on the right is picking up the greens in the water.
Mhm. Yeah, these things were so magnificent. I just couldn't get enough of them.
Okay, you see the little tiny
I see it.
speck
Yeah.
of an iceberg?
Oh, are you talking about
That
that
little
one?
tiny one?
That's what I'm
Yep.
talking about.
You could zap that if it
Yeah, you could zap it.
distracts.
You could zap it in this category.
Yep,
Okay.
you can
Okay,
zap anything.
all right,
Yeah,
so
it's-
that's,
Right, you could even zap that little,
The line that takes you out.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but you could, or you could just crop in a little touch.
Crop in,
I could crop in, that might be easier.
yeah.
Sometimes I zap little, grassy fields with divots and other things. I've been known to go through and zap all the divots out of a grassy field.
I like how the berg on the right looks like it's ready to go over.
Yeah, it does.
Mm.
Oh, you mean ready
Yeah.
to come? Yeah, they,
Yeah.
I just noticed, yeah. Is this a separate, are these actually two icebergs? Or is this one?
I think it might be two
Really?
different ones.
Because I'm looking at the part here that curves down and.
Oh, yeah. Good call, Steve.
Now, I would be really impressed if they put you in sky or water diving suits and you would go down with
Oh, yeah, right.
a camera and shoot how deep they go.
Oh,
Yeah,
You
my,
could turn it over, you could turn one over and change the colors and make us think that.
my checkout dive for scuba diving went down in 38-degree water. We got down about 50 feet and it looked like we were at the bottom, and the instructor who was holding my tank pushed me through what looked like the bottom, and it was actually a thermocline. The visibility dropped to 2 inches and the water temperature dropped to like 33 degrees.
oh,
Ugh.
But I always remember that experience.
Mhm.
If you can handle having all that equipment on and going underwater in that environment, I could see this is an environment I would do it again to get the kind of colors and pictures around these icebergs.
I
You
gotta
know,
take a
it'd be
quick break.
cool
Quick break.
It would be cool if some company would have some kind of
oh, a submersible or something?
building, or it could be a submersible, but I was even thinking of, how it could be a building that goes down that's actually, and you're looking, you just go down the stairs or something and.
Yeah, they had,
Except these things move. And,
yeah.
you wouldn't want to be,
No, that's a submersible. A submersible would be really cool.
yeah, that would be cool.
I guess the
And-
moving part is not too evident.
No, I mean, it doesn't move much if you're just a person there, even in a boat. But if
Okay.
you build a building
Right.
and then that thing comes, there's so much weight and force in that. They're
No,
huge.
submersible is much easier. Go
Yeah.
around.
But it is true that because of such mass, if you find yourself between two of them, and even if they're only moving an inch an hour, if you get wedged in between, you'll still get crushed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of doing that.
there were like canyons between these, some of them that we went into a little bit, but we were following whales that went into these canyons because it traps the food for them. They can, it's easier for them to hunt. Also, they echo off, it's like echoing off canyon walls to hear
Yeah,
these whales in there. It's unbelievable.
echolocation.
Yeah, they may be using echolocation. Huh?
Yeah. Well, also, their prey may be using the icebergs to dart around to get out of sight or range of predators.
That could be too. Yeah.
We see your next one. Ooh. There's the town.
Yeah, the town, it's only a couple of miles away from the ice fjord. But these things drift on past. And you can see how they change, after they melt, they're floating up higher. So you can see in the past where the water has worked on them.
I love the contrast between the blue greens and the mauves.
Yeah, we did almost all of our boat trips, either, well, we did it sunrise, sunset. Sometimes those weren't very far apart. You know, because you go out to watch the sunset and then you hang out for an hour during the afterglow. All of a sudden the sun starts coming up again. It's just amazing.
So the town is never in danger of being hit by an iceberg?
Yeah, sometimes it is. If the wind happens to be going the wrong way, but they ground, because there's so much of them underwater, they ground out before they really
Got it.
do much damage.
I love this one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love it.
The way you caught the sun
Yeah.
on the iceberg and then down into the water, that's just beautiful.
And the blue streaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
nice common look and feel to the sky.
Mm-hmm. Really pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure what causes those, like, it's almost clear ice there instead of white. It's just,
That has to do with the way they melt.
I think
it
they melt
can-
in
it can-
reefs or something.
It can, when the iceberg's on the land, it will actually start undercutting beneath the ice, between the ice and the ground. And the melting pattern creates what looks like veins, because if they melt slightly, they clarify, as opposed to the white areas, everything is like sand and scatters the light.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
And let's see, really, yeah, I can get real picky. The iceberg at the very left of the frame, it's like, it's so close to the edge of the frame, that thing pointing out. You see on the right side,
Yeah, right.
there's a
Yeah.
whole finger space, but on the left side,
Yeah. I don't know that I had any more. Do you think it would be an idea to clone off some of the ice so that it doesn't, that it looks like there's a more
to
space?
climb off, to just clip the tip there so it balances with the right side?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. What I would
wouldn't either.
do,
Scale.
what I would do is keep the aspect ratio the same, but in Photoshop, take the horizontal selection tool up at the top, and when you've got it open, then you click content aware fill, and
Yeah,
Make it-
a content aware repair, whatever.
you have to do a enlarge the canvas.
Okay, something else minor.
Yeah,
Well, I think she's explaining something.
yeah.
That's a bird, actually, but you think it should have been cloned out?
It looks like a spot, yeah. But anyway, what I was saying was, if you first go in and you go into image canvas size. Actually, you know what I'll do is I will send you these instructions, okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think what you're attempting to describe, Nancy and I think it's a lot easier in Affinity Photo. Maybe, maybe not.
Anyway, I think it's pretty easy, and I can just send you the instructions. And you can see if you like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be a good tool to have. Steve, how long do we have to rework these and get them back in?
Let me call up my calendar 1 sec. Oh, I just pulled my. I think it officially closes on, I think it's set for the 26th. Would that be enough time for you? Or, I can change it as long as I can do the uploads on the 30th. I could set the close to the 29th if that is more
That
comfortable.
would really help.
Yeah, so what he's gonna have to do is after
Today's the 20th.
Herb's presentation, he's
Whoa,
going
are
to
you
show
hearing me?
our portfolio. So he would show what you've done up till then, and then afterwards, any change you make would go to,
Oh, that's right, we
N4C.
have that meeting. That's on the,
that's a week from tonight. So he would need it in the day before
Yeah.
that to show to the club, but you could, if he leaves it open for you, you can, what goes to N4C could be at a later.
Updated.
Okay.
If you don't make it by the 26th, I have to let it close for showing it.
Right.
Actually, I don't.
and then I could go back and do more if I have to.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
I'm
we should
I'm
move
very
along a little bit. I'm
I'm
sorry.
very flexible. This is a team effort. We'll do what it takes.
Okay, thank you.
I agree. I just heard Liz say that we need to move a little faster.
So everybody gets in.
And plus I haven't had dinner, so.
Oh, please, I
Oh.
need you here for me next. I'm the last one.
Well, oh, I thought Bill was in too.
No,
Nope.
No,
Oh, okay. I love this.
yeah, I do too.
Yeah, that it was just so ethereal looking, so, well, fragile, really.
Like a gem.
Yeah.
You've got a
And it's like
very,
birds in the water.
Yeah, birds and,
and you've got very good contrast between the sky and below. An interesting sky. Yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah. it is.
yeah.
And this is beautiful. Yeah, I like this a lot.
It's abstract. Nice.
Uh-huh.
Water's nice.
Gorgeous color.
Yeah, and this I'll just change to icebergs, okay. I don't recall that I had a problem with the number of characters, but we'll see.
And that's the birds are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you put this together too.
I like your light gray background.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you like the what?
The
Oh,
light
Kind of
gray.
blue gray, yeah.
Yeah, some blue gray kind of color.
It suggests hold.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody. That was excellent feedback, and
Thank you.
And let's,
Not this one again.
no, I'm gonna scroll
mine is,
down.
mine is the last one, Steve.
Come on, I clicked on, there it goes.
Oh, boy.
Gosh. Oh, gosh.
Oh, I'm glad you put this in.
Steve, could you read it?
Art heals. During the pandemic in 2020, I felt hard on my temple, tripping on a step. Zoom medical diagnosis, concussion. The big bump on my temple evolved into a big, ugly black eye, symbolic of what I felt inside. I documented my recovery via daily iPhone selfies as a healing exercise over months. I intensely overprocessed these disturbing iPhone images to reflect my fears, fog, fatigue, and eventual recovery. Join me on my journey.
Do you want to go through it first or do you want to get feedback?
Go through it.
Yeah.
Sure feels like my head's all shaken up, and it is. Feeling discombobulated today and introspective about how this is affecting me. Fearful what the outcome will be. Sometimes it feels like I'm fading away. Hard to think. Feeling distorted. It's dark and scary inside, behind this face. Inside my head, I feel out of touch with the world outside. But please tell me it's going to get better, isn't it? Isn't it? Because frankly, I'm feeling fatigued and really old today. Yet I think I'm beginning to find clarity and see the beauty within. Yes, it's actually feeling like I'm coming through this thing, that there's light at the end of this tunnel of confusion.
You just have to buy convention, don't you?
How? What did I do?
The one on the left, the top image.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that it's outside of the frame. Like,
It's very interesting.
But it's
How-
all in order. It's
Yeah.
there.
Yep,
Da-da-da,
yep. Not
da-da-da.
hard to follow. Not the least bit hard to follow.
But yes, out of the frame while staying within the frame.
Mhm.
Good. Thank you. for
Wait a
saying
minute,
that.
wait a minute.
It's a great
Um,
statement of intent.
Mhm.
Really, really good.
The,
did I properly on this statement read through everything in the order you intended?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
You were a bit on the dramatic, but that's a good interpretation.
yeah,
um,
that's, in a sense, I overemphasized it a little bit in terms of how is the judge going to react to it? Is the judge going to react to it with that much emphasis and intensity?
Probably with annoyance.
Okay. One thing is that the closeness to the edge of your left
mean,
side and then your
yeah,
first sentence,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
disturbing. And maybe you intended
Yeah,
for
because you've got wide space here.
negative space, but
I would
yeah.
probably space it
Steve,
just
Steve, can you
slightly
wait?
more.
Steve, can you wait? Let me finish what I was saying. I'm
Can
sorry.
can I what?
Wait a
Wait.
minute. Let me finish before you start.
She was talking.
Oh, I didn't hear anything. I'm sorry.
Okay. So the word step, touching the top like that, that's just, I mean, if you're defying convention, okay, but I'd like to see it down just a little hair there. So there's just at least a little bit of black on top of it. That's it.
I couldn't quite get all that.
You were
But
going
yeah.
to say something, Steve?
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
You were gonna say something.
Only that this could be moved slightly in, and not be quite so close to the edge.
Is
I
the
don't know.
red line, you made that purposefully?
What was that?
The red line on the left is purposefully?
Yep.
Unless, here's a thought, you could actually take each of these, put the during out near the edge, the zoom near the edge, and the T inside slightly, which adds to sort of the chaos and distortion, as opposed to them all being even on top of each other.
One's to the edge, one's in, and one's back a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, one
So they're not even.
outside, one over the edge, one
Right.
inside the edge.
So
like
they're
that.
not even.
Yeah,
Because right now they're even. you
No,
know.
they're not even.
You're not,
Vertically, they're even.
no,
If you
No.
draw a line from the D through the Z through the T, you can clip all three.
It's a curve. The D, the Z, and the T is a curve.
Hmm,
If you go from one to the next to the other, it's a curve.
I can hold my cursor here. I don't know.
Well,
Because, see, this, these two are, oh. I'm just being picky.
well, I'll talk a little about it. Well, first of all, I thought you were going to say I can't read it because when I read it, it moves all around. But I have problems. I have eye problems. So that my intent was to be disturbing,
yeah, it is.
and that this page, which is usually laid out so beautifully and even, I'm starting the journey disturbing you.
Mhm.
And I wasn't sure how that would, and I don't care. I mean, the judges could say, good. If they're disturbed, I succeeded.
Okay,
Because I'm disturbed. I mean, obviously, what I'm doing is expressing
yes,
what's going on, and I'm starting you off with like you're talking to somebody who's off.
disturbed.
Yeah, I remember some excellent writing, was it in The Haunting? It's these, it all adds up to one giant distortion.
And what actually helped me with this, to do this, I had put those two in some towards the end where I'm feeling old, and then it's pretty inside. And I think it was it Charlie? No, it was one of the other N4C people. I get their names mixed up, Hinchy and the other one.
Stephen Henchy.
And he said, I can't really evaluate or critique this because it disturbed, he says it's too disturbing to him.
Uh-huh.
That it reminded him of like a woman being abused,
Mhm.
and he couldn't deal with it, and he didn't want to. And so I was kind of like, oh. And then Anne texted to me, and she wrote, he got it. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. I'm going to push disturbing.
Yeah,
And then that helped me because I felt bad that he was disturbed because it was like a woman abused, which wasn't the idea. And And so I thought, okay, I'm going to give them disturbing. And I realized that I could, they could hate it. But obviously, if they do, I've succeeded. But
One more
so I
piece
was
of
really
feedback.
interested in your responses. Thank you. What?
One more piece of feedback. When you say I documented my recovery via daily iPhone selfies, I'm set up to think there are way more images than there are. So I
Yeah.
wonder if you just take out daily.
Well, yeah, I hear you.
Okay,
Except that was part of my recovery, was documenting it daily. Every morning I took a picture of myself. I obviously over months could not show that many images, so it's just a selection.
Yeah,
So I agree.
well, it should
But
say
it's-
over months.
Mhm.
And
I
so,
wanted to show that it was like a long process.
yeah,
okay, I get
Yeah.
it.
and the images reflect fatigue of doing this every single day.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's more the fatigue you felt from the things you couldn't see, you couldn't, just not, everything
It-
not working right. But that's neither here nor there. What's next?
I
There
would
was
also, I wasn't sure about using a picture on the front page because there was some controversy over you're adding an extra picture. So I only put 9 pictures in because I didn't want that to be, like, oh, she's cheating.
You could
So-
put another one in. A lot of people make their first image with another image, but it doesn't get evaluated.
Right, and I
sure.
realize that, but just to avoid anything on that kind of level of following, because I am a rule follower and this is over following, because I didn't want to that anyways, that's what I did is I
I'm going
put
to
it
give you
on.
credit for this as an image.
Yeah, so I only have 9 images following, but this is my 10th and it doesn't count.
Right.
But to me, it sets the stage. And I know Terry she had a
Well,
picture
she had a
Yeah,
background.
she had one in the
in the
background
background.
too.
And I
Yeah.
know they did it, and I know Bill, you did, and it was fine.
And-
But I just, it was my choice not to push. I didn't want to push that. I wanted to push buttons, not rules.
The response I got from Doug was judges may think you're trying to sneak another image in. So
Yeah,
I eventually took mine out.
Oh, okay. And I remember he said that. So I did is I took one out.
You left it in,
Right,
took
but
another one out.
Here's what I'd say.
No,
Nick.
I mean, I took a different,
Right.
right.
Right,
I did it in a different way, but I don't have an extra image.
right.
The one thing that that I felt as you went through it was that we spent very little time on the upside of the curve. You went from being, feeling old, and within 2 images you're happy now. I mean, your last image, you're kind of happy now. So what I'm suggesting is if you add another image that reflects that transition to happy rather than the disturbance, then you give me more of a sequence.
When you go through, see if you notice there's one where I say, I'm going to feel better, aren't I, or something like that.
Yeah.
That was my transition.
I'm looking at the thumbnails on my screen, and let's see.
Shall we go through?
Yeah, can we just go
I-
through them?
What I will do is I will go through relatively fast so that you're just looking at each image as opposed
Good.
to reading.
Yeah, good.
That's where I start to be positive.
Yeah. There's Lauren Bacall with the blue eye.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I would actually say this one, you look at, you go from this one and now you're kind of perking up and smiling, but then this half one, it's kind of,
It looks sadder again.
is it sad or happy or whatever? There's no, because it's only half the image, you don't have the clues anymore.
Well, something that you wouldn't notice unless you really studied it is if you go to the one just before, it's the same picture, processed differently. No, one before it, I said. No, go
Well,
back.
I'm sorry, I had
I'm sorry,
I
go
was
back to the
pressing- I
half
was
one.
pressing the right arrow instead
Okay.
of the left one.
That picture is, if you look at how the hair is and how is exactly the same picture as the next one.
Really?
It's like you're looking
Yes.
down.
I mean, if you look at it and you'll see,
Yeah,
you'll see. And so that transition was really important to me, whether you saw it or not. It's the same picture, just processed differently.
then
It doesn't suggest to me that you're
Perhaps-
feeling happy.
perhaps you need slightly more of a clue that they are the same.
Yeah,
No.
but I
opposed to
wanted
them
that,
being too different.
I wanted it to not be, that's just me, again,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, it's my own thing. And the next one, if like what it's saying is that it isn't necessarily that, it's just I'm beginning to find clarity. But anyway, that,
So I'm having an emotional reaction to it that says you're not.
okay,
That's what I'm saying. It's an emotional reaction. It looks terrible. It looks sad. That's how I
Right.
feel looking at it. This one. Looks
It's like
happy.
things are on the uplift and then this one seems
then
to
you're
go
down
down.
Yeah.
again.
okay, that's interesting.
And then,
And that's beautiful.
I love this
Right.
one.
Yeah.
This one reminds me of Liz.
well,
Yeah.
I
That's
love the watercolory.
this one is the darkest, especially with the very pointed beak. Did you emphasize that?
I did it in an app over processing in an iPhone app.
So,
All of them are just
right.
all over processing and apps.
Well, in terms of when you look at this one, and then you look at that one, you notice you're going from looking stage right to looking directly at the camera. And right. So actually, if you put this one directly after this one, and then go that one, then this one, and then that one. Because it's all when looking at it, your eye jumps to the eye on the left. This is left eye, and in this one, you jump to the left eye, but your eyes are looking to the right, anticipating more. And you still have the eye, but personally, I would go with this one followed by that one.
And keep in mind the way that it resonates emotionally with people is not that it's getting better.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe a new
And
title.
then after you rearrange it, I can't do it off the top of my head right now, then consider if you need to change the text,
Right.
the
Yeah,
titling
right.
to match the flow.
Now, if you go back, what about maybe the third one in where I'm saying I'm feeling that one? that one can actually be starting to feel better, or maybe you don't think it is.
No, because
That's-
it's
yeah.
lighter, it's happier.
It's like,
Yeah, it's tighter, yeah.
Right.
But I love
because-
the idea that you're fading away and it looks like you're fading away.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. That's why I moved it.
Nice.
I moved it into that position.
Mhm.
So here, well, this one is very amorphous. You know, it's because ear, nose, and everything else is kind of getting muddy. Let's see.
That one's really,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love this portfolio.
Yeah.
mhm.
This one really looks like you're tearing up. So yeah, doing the flow from image to image, yeah.
Yeah, this should be sort of the center. This should be the lowest point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Because that's, I mean, that's exactly what it says to me. This is really low.
That you've got light at the right-hand side.
Yeah.
here's an idea for you. Feeling distorted, on the word distorted, start with a lowercase d, cap I, cap S, lowercase t, you know, alternate your cap and low
Yeah,
to
yeah.
distort the entire word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with the capital letters, the all capital letters. For me, it would be more impactful for me if you just used the sentence case. I mean,
It kind of follows what I did on the first page where I made some words yellow.
yeah,
It kind of,
Something else in terms of pacing, where you've got, you know, you're well under 200 characters. For example, when you say it's dark and put an ellipsis in there, scary inside this, you know, it adds a bit of pacing
mhm.
because it's dark and you're wondering, and it's scary. So if you're gonna play with the caps and lowercase, play also with a touch of punctuation to pace the reading of it. That's an idea.
Yeah, it's an idea. Yeah. So
I
what is
can't
the
wait.
order? Okay, go ahead.
I just said I can't wait till they see it.
Yeah, I know. Could disturb our club too.
We saw these at TAPG, right?
Some of them I had shown there.
Yeah.
A long time ago, like a year ago.
Now here, when you say get better, isn't it? I think the use of the caps there works very well.
Mhm.
Because you say, get better, isn't it? It's your hesitancy, is it? Isn't it?
Mhm.
I love the black cloud.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
actually,
this one's got my name on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't notice that.
here's an idea. Let's see. Let me think about this. Consider having one or two titles with no caps at all, rather than having
Mhm.
big caps in every single one.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Feeling old today it's a quiet. I- And perhaps within, yeah.
Yeah. that's-
But thing, yes, thing is, what is this thing?
And something you probably don't realize is that yellow rectangle on the left is a window with
Yeah,
light. coming
I
through.
knew that.
Oh, you
Oh,
did.
cool. No, I
From-
didn't see it.
But now you're starting to beam with light, and so a window is appropriate.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great tag image.
So what order would you suggest now?
To put, what do I say? Take this one and put it here.
Mhm.
Where? Wait, I'm gonna, okay, beauty after distorted.
So it would be the 5th image of the 9.
Right, and
Yeah.
you wanted so the distorted one is 4 out of 9. And then that one would be 5 out of 9, so those would be the 2 center ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm feeling old today isn't very, so I could do is the one on the bottom left with the red eye, the
Whoop.
bottom left.
Yeah.
I could take the red out of it so that it becomes the second to last one.
Yes, that
More
would be
needed.
good. Because that, if you take the red out of that, then
Yeah.
that's an image of someone recovering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With the
Yeah.
red in it, it's someone who's just been beaten to pulp.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and putting it right before they're both so close to each other. It's
Yeah.
like this one say, I think I'm getting there.
I could see the end.
Yes, I am.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
That's really powerful, Nancy. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Good, I'm glad it, I really, I had no idea what kind of response I would get. And of course, there are those, not us, but there are those who look at iPhone things, and it's just a one, like, who's like to say it's a one shot,
One
One
click
trick
pony.
pony.
one click, yeah.
I would, I
but-
will say that the more time I spend looking at this, the better it gets.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, truly what I wrote is every day I would take a picture and then I picked I picked a bunch, I did things on them, and then I would do other things. I mean, this was an art healing process for me over a couple of years, because it, the post was after, much of it was afterwards. Now, the third one that's fading away, should that be in that early position?
This one,
Because it actually looks a little bit like I'm getting better.
it looks like you've got an awareness that something's changing.
Yeah, I mean, like that one on the far right top is very disturbing with the eyes, they're going in different directions even.
Well, if this one preceded this one,
Yeah, good. Flip
Needed which
those.
one? Sorry.
if this precedes this one,
Okay,
Yeah, so then you've got 1, 2.
so this would be the end. Would this be the second to the end after the red's out, and this would be the third to the end? Is that what we're thinking?
so go
If it's
point
about-
to the ones, do it in order. We'll point to the order.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Start at the top left and then go
Right.
from that
Like
one and then the
one,
next one,
2,
okay? Oh, but then I would have
let's see.
that
Let me think.
too early.
Yeah, I like that one because it's fading away. You might want to darken red under your eye a little bit,
Or,
make it feel like it's earlier.
right, right, because the tonality between here and here shifts, it goes
Yes,
kind
And-
of dark,
yeah.
bright, dark.
And actually what's interesting is that early on, it's just in certain spots. And later on, it's just in certain spots, and it's in the middle that it's full blown.
Yeah,
In fact, when I went to the Tuesday afternoon group with the full black eye, and Ellen saw me, she said, what, she's joking, right? She's some kind of makeup.
You
You
know,
know, it was really disturbing for people to see me.
right.
yeah.
But that is a good point of,
But I want
Well-
that first one to be first, because that
yeah, oh,
shooken up head. But that was later because of the way the eye being so, that took,
this one is the giant distortion of what you see and what you feel. But the thing of starting, having things kind of start muddled, get darker and then brighter. I'd want to think about, this one being just a touch darker.
Just
So
around the eye though.
Yeah, so it goes from this one to this one to this one without having a bright bump in,
The thing I like about it is that it does look like you're fading away. There's very little texture. It's sort of like, it gives the impression of fading out.
now, as opposed to every other one, this one is sharper.
which
and
is this
clearer.
one. I couldn't see which you're referring to as this one. Move your cursor so I can see.
Bottom row, second in, bottom row,
Oh.
second.
Oh, okay, because there's two cursors. There's one on my last picture and there's one.
One of them might be yours, Nancy.
This
One's
is
yours.
mine.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I believe somewhere along the way I changed it so that there could be more than one person's cursor out there.
Yeah.
Guys, I have to go now.
Oh, it's my cursor.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
you're
what I'm saying.
distracting yourself.
That was my,
Hi, Liz.
Bye, thanks. Thank you.
Nancy, was it deliberate that some of these have stroke around the outside and some don't? And that the
Actually, I
last one,
think they all do,
But
but
it's
it might not show.
it's
The
much
last one's
thicker
much
on
wider.
the last
The
one.
last one is.
the last one's
it's-
totally
it's
different.
It's totally different, but it was supposed to be totally different.
Okay, okay.
All right,
Yeah.
I gotta go eat. Sorry.
Thanks for your feedback.
Congratulations, everybody.
Are we
Yeah,
at,
you too.
are we at the end?
This
now?
was really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
valuable.
And I would comment that the number of people participating, I think it's why Zoom has breakout rooms. This is like having a breakout room. The number of people makes for easy conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway,
this was really nice.
Yeah. Oh,
okay. Now, you see, when I'm doing that, I can't see the thumbnails of everybody. Now I can. Who left?
Tricia
Tricia,
left.
Liz,
Trisha. Okay. Yeah.
and Liz.
And Liz.
Liz.
Okay. So, I've got to reopen make sure the competition's open. Bill, Did you understand what I sent you about the scoring?
Yes, so we have points from 1 to 10. Then after that, it's all ones, right? So first place gets 10 points. All the way down to 1 point, then everything else gets 1 point, but they are dragged into the correct ranking
Right.
order. Okay. So from that, you'll be able to avoid ties.
Yeah, because every image will have a distinct rank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
very
so
good.
I'll emphasize in my note tomorrow that they be sure to rank, be sure to drag them into the
Yeah.
ranked order.
I also figured out another tool to employ. Remember last year I loaded all the top fives into competitions just to display them. I
Mhm.
figured out if I create an award set and call it top five, it only has one award, top five, and we grant that to, first place through fifth place.
Mhm.
Every one of those gets the top five award.
Gets the top 5 award, yeah.
Then
Yeah.
in the ICM, I'm going to add a custom preset just for top five, to where on the drop down, I choose the top five award as being what's displayed.
Yeah,
And that way I don't have to have a separate competition.
yeah,
But you have to be careful to make sure you use that preset when you display it, because you want to make sure you don't display the winners.
exactly. So you're producing a separate preset for top 5.
Yeah, you'll see a new preset pop up,
Okay, okay, good.
and I will refresh you about that as we get closer. Okay,
Sounds good.
Hey, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
all right.